Namaste, welcome to Geeta's Kitchen. We'll soon be celebrating the festival of Krishna Janmashtami. So in this video we bring to you a few traditional yet simple and easy sweets and other savories to make as offering for Shri Krishna. So I am planning to make starting with a sweet, Shri Krishna's favorite poha. So we'll make a Poha Halwa, then a Laddu using Moong Dal, then our typical traditional home style recipes of Uppu Seedai, Vella Seedai and Mullu Thenkuzhal. For these Uppu Seedai, Vella Seedai and Mullu Thenkuzhal, we have to make some homemade flours, that is roasted urad flour, roasted Moong Dal flour. I will show you step by step how to make. I have also shown you the roasted rice flour, but in case you are not able to use the roasted rice flour, you can use the store bought flours also. This is the Poha Halwa, Mullu Thenkuzhal, Uppu Seedai, Moong Dal Laddu, and in the center we have the Vella Seedai. We will begin our preparations with a sweet made using Krishna's favorite, that is poha. Here I am using the red poha. I have taken 1 cup. So first we will dry roast this poha. Dry roast it over a very low flame. Do not burn the poha. You have to only roast it till it becomes crisp like this. Now switch it off. We will transfer it into another container and just wait till it cools. The poha has cooled down to room temperature now. I will transfer it to my blender jar. Now grind it to a slightly coarse powder, something like semolina or suji. See the consistency? A slightly coarse consistency. Now to wash this, just add plenty of water. Allow it to stand for 5 minutes, then you can drain out the excess water. Now we will drain out the excess water. Drain it through a sieve so that you don't lose any of the poha. Now in a kadai, heat about 1/4 cup of ghee. Add some chopped cashews and raisins in it. For 1 cup of poha, I have added 2 cups of water, brought it to a boil. Now we will add this hot water and mix it into the poha. See, in just a few minutes you will find that it has become thick like this and starting to leave the sides also. For this I am adding 1 cup of Jaggery powder. Now again mix everything well together. Once you add jaggery, it will again become a little bit loose. Now continue cooking till it reaches the correct consistency once more. Within 5 to 6 minutes itself, it has again reached the perfect halwa consistency and it is leaving the sides well like this. So at this stage you can switch it off because it will thicken a little bit more on cooling. I am just adding a little bit more of ghee on top. So it will give a good shine to your halwa. And this is some cardamom powder for flavor. Again give it a good mix. I will add some of the cashews and raisins now. Remaining we will use for garnishing on top. I am transferring it to my serving bowl. So our divine Naivedyam, Krishna's favorite poha. So we have Poha Halwa to offer to Shri Krishna. Krishna Preeti. For making rice flour, I have soaked the rice for about 2 hours now. Now drain the water completely. Now spread this drained rice on a clean white cloth like this. Just spread it out for about half an hour. It has to dry, but still a little bit of the moisture has to be retained. I will show you when it is done. It is about 20 minutes now. See, it is dry but not total. That is, if you keep your palm on it, a few grains should stick. That is the consistency we want. So now we will transfer this to our blender jar and make it into a fine powder. We have ground the rice into a flour. Now we have to sieve it in batches, little by little. Take this sieved flour in a pan and dry roast it. Dry roast it over a low flame. Initially, you will feel as if this rice flour is thick and heavy. Now, as you continue roasting it, you can feel that it becomes lighter and also silky smooth, we can say, and it just turns around easily. See, now it has become very light and silky smooth, just free flowing. At this stage, we can switch it off. How to know if it is done? Here I have taken a pinch of the flour which I have not roasted. So, when I want to draw a line, see, I am not able to draw a line with it. Now, when I take this roasted flour, we will be easily able to draw a line. Now, just allow it to cool a bit and then we have to sieve this once again. Now, when it is cool completely, you can transfer it into a box and store it for use whenever you want. To make urad dal flour, I have taken, you can take any measure, I have taken 1 cup of urad dal and we will dry roast it over a low flame till it gets a nice golden color and a good aroma you get. Keep stirring it and dry roast it till it is all evenly brown. Do it over a low to medium flame. See, the urad dal has changed color and I am getting an awesome aroma. It is well roasted. Now I will switch it off and I will transfer it into a bowl. Allow it to come down to room temperature, then we can grind it into a powder. Next, for making this moong dal powder, I have taken same quantity of split yellow moong dal. Similarly, over a low flame, we will roast this also till it is well roasted and we get a good aroma. And then we can grind both the dals into a fine flour. See, roast this also till it gets a lovely golden color. And do it over a slow flame because you don't want to get it burnt. Now we will transfer this also into a bowl and allow it to cool. Now the urad dal has cooled well. Take it to your blender jar and make a fine powder out of it. See, we have ground into a fine powder, but this is not enough. Definitely we need to sieve this powder. So we have perfectly blended urad dal flour to make all our recipes. Allow it to come down to room temperature, then you can store it in an airtight box and when required we can use it. So we leave it aside for now. Now our roasted moong dal has also come down to room temperature. In the same way we will grind this also into a fine powder. Now we will sieve this also very well. Now all the flours are well grounded, sieved and ready. We have our rice flour, urad dal flour and moong dal flour. So this activity you can do even 1 or 2 days before and allow it to cool well, store it in an airtight box and keep it ready. So on the day when you want to make the sweet or savory, you can just take the flour and start using. For a sweet, we can use this Moong Dal flour, and with sugar we can make a laddu known as Payatha laddu. So I am taking 1 cup of sugar and we will make it into a powder. Now I am taking 1 cup of our Moong Dal flour which we have made at home. Take it into a bowl. See, our sugar also has been powdered well. Now I will measure out 1 cup of this powdered sugar. Now measure out an equal quantity of this powdered sugar and add. Now if you are using cardamoms, you can powder the cardamom along with the sugar, but since I have cardamom powder ready with me, I am adding some cardamom powder to this. Now heat some ghee in a pan. Here I have chopped a few cashew nut pieces, say about 1 tablespoon of cashew nuts. Fry them in the hot ghee. Here I have taken 1/4 cup of ghee. First mix the dry ingredients well together, the sugar, dal powder and cardamom powder. See, the cashews have come to a golden color. Now pour this ghee along with the cashew into this flour and sugar mix. Mix all the ingredients well together, and then we can take small portions and roll them into laddus. When you are able to handle it comfortably, just make it into laddus like this. Make the laddus when the dough is still little warm, only then you will be able to shape it well. So with 1 cup of Moong Dal flour, we have got 11 laddus of this size. Our laddus are now ready for Shri Krishna. Now we will make Uppu Seedai. This is made in Tamil Nadu. So here we will take our rice flour which we have kept ready. Here I have taken 1 cup of this rice flour. This is our homemade roasted and powdered urad dal flour. I am adding 2 teaspoons. Next we will add salt to taste and a large pinch of hing or asafoetida. This is white til or sesame seeds. I am adding 1 teaspoon. This is fresh coconut which I have cut into small pieces. We can add about 1 tablespoon of it. This is Channa dal which has been soaking in water for about 1 hour now. We will drain out the water and add about 2 teaspoons of this. First mix all the dry ingredients well together. This is unsalted butter. We can add about 2 teaspoons of this. Why do I use unsalted? Because we are already adding salt also to the flour, so then it should not become too much. Now start adding water a little at a time to make it into a dough. The dough should be a medium firm dough. It should not be too soft and it should not be too hard either. See, the dough has been mixed to the perfect consistency. Now I am taking some oil for deep frying these seedais. Now we can start rolling out the seedais, and before we begin, as always, first our prayer to Ganesha. So we keep a Ganesha here and then start rolling out these seedais. Take a small portion of the dough. Just smear a drop of coconut oil in your hands. Now hold the dough in your hand like this and pinch out small portions and roughly make them into balls like this. They need not be very smooth, but what is important is they should all be of the same size. Then only it will cook evenly also. Very often people are afraid that when they put the seedai into the oil, it will burst and accidents happen. That is because either there is some dust in the rice flour or in the salt which you are using. That is why we repeatedly say to roast the rice flour and sieve it. Sieve it 2 or 3 times so that there is no dust at all. And also don't make it very smooth like this. Instead, just roughly roll it into balls like this. See, now we have completed rolling out all the seedais. Heat the oil well and then bring it to sim, because while frying it has to fry over a low flame only. Now we will fry it in batches. Take it out onto a plate and carefully, gently slide it into the oil. Now after a minute or so, gently turn the seedais around in the oil so that they get evenly browned on all sides. From time to time, just keep turning it around. See, now the bubbling has come down a lot and the seedais are also well done. You can drain it out from the oil. Drain out all the oil and take it into your draining plate. Listen to that sound, that means it is perfectly done. Likewise, carefully fry the remaining batches also. See, the second batch is frying and my third batch I have taken out into my plate. What is remaining is the Ganesha. Last year many of you have asked me, what do we do with this Ganesha? Please do not fry it in the oil. After you finish your work, you can just dissolve it in some, mix it with some water and pour it in your plant or soil wherever you have. Our superb Uppu Seedais are all done and ready to be offered to Shri Krishna. For making Vella Seedai, take 1 cup of this rice flour which we have already roasted. Add 2 teaspoons of Urad Dal flour. Add a teaspoon of white sesame seeds or til, cardamom powder, a few pieces of finely chopped coconut. Today we are going to make the Vella Seedai in a slightly different way. I am using Jaggery powder instead of regular jaggery. So I have taken 3/4 cup of jaggery powder here and I have kept some water for heating. Now pour in about 1/4 cup of hot water to this and mix it very well. We don't even have to make the syrup on the stove, just mix it with hot water and we'll use this syrup to add to the rice flour. Now add this jaggery mix little by little to this and make a dough. Also add 1 teaspoon of butter, unsalted butter, and mix everything together to make it into a firm dough. Make it into a slightly firm dough like this. Cover it and keep it aside for about half an hour. Similarly, take out small portions and make rounds of this Vella Seedai also, that is the sweet seedai. Size big or small is your choice. They need not be tiny like the Uppu Seedais. These are of a slightly bigger size. I just tried out one to make sure that it comes all right, because generally when we make this with jaggery, sometimes it just splits apart in the oil. So I wanted to make sure it comes fine, because I have used jaggery powder for the first time and just dissolved it in water and added to the dough. So similarly heat oil, then bring it down to sim, and over a very low flame drop these into this oil. As usual, don't disturb it immediately after putting. After about a minute or so, you can just gently swirl the oil around so that all the seedais get cooked evenly on all the sides. See, when the bubbling reduces and you can see this kind of cracks, that means it has been cooked well. Drain it out from the oil and keep it aside. And because it is a sweet made from jaggery, when it is hot, it will be soft. So don't think it is not hardened. As it cools, it will harden. Now similarly, we can make our next batch also. So always just test one and see that it doesn't disintegrate in the oil, and then we can make the remaining. See, now this batch is also done. Gently drain it out from the oil. Our next Naivedyam for Shri Krishna, that is Vella Seedai, is also ready. Now we will make what is known as Mullu Thenkuzhal. Some people call it as chakli also. So for this, again, these are homemade or prepared rice flour. I have taken 1 cup. This is our homemade roasted and powdered Moong Dal, 1/4 cup. Add salt to taste. Add 2 teaspoons of this white till or sesame seeds. A little bit of Hing or asafoetida. First mix all the dry ingredients well together. I have already kept some oil for heating. I am taking about 1 tablespoon of butter. Slightly less is also okay, and mix it well with the flour like this. Next, add water little by little to make a soft yet firm dough. And when you are making in large batches, don't mix all the flour at once. Mixing the flour, making the dough also, make it in batches. See, our dough is ready. Now take a portion of the dough. I have greased my murku maker. Now add this dough. First heat the oil well, then reduce the temperature. I am just dropping a small portion of the dough. See, it should slowly rise up to the surface like this. That means the oil is of the correct temperature. Now we will squeeze out this Mullu Thenkuzhal into the hot oil. If you are a beginner, then you can just squeeze it out onto a ladle like this, whichever size you want, and just drop it into the oil like that. Whichever is convenient to you, you can do like that method. So you can just close the edges like this so that it doesn't open out in the oil. So these we had put in the beginning. You can just turn them over now. After a few minutes, you can just gently turn it over. If you have children at home, I suggest you make small chaklis like this so that you can satisfy them by giving them the full chakli without breaking it, and there is no wastage also. See, when the bubbling starts to reduce, drain it out from the oil. See, perfectly done and retaining the light color. Absolutely crispy and crunchy Mullu Thenkuzhal. Let it just cool down a bit. See, our final batch of Mullu Thenkuzhal is also done. Our absolutely tasty and crispy Mullu Murukku is now ready to be offered to Shri Krishna. In this video, we have shown you step by step how to make even all the traditional snacks and how to make the homemade powders for the Urad Dal powder, Moong Dal powder, how to make the rice flour and so on. If you are not able to do that, store-bought flours are also readily available. You can still use them also and do if you don't have the time or you don't have the facility to make your homemade flours. Whatever is possible for you, whatever you feel like offering to Shri Krishna, you can make that Naivedyam and offer it to him. You can even just offer some fruits and flowers, some butter, milk, curd and so on. It's entirely up to you. I have shown you some of the traditional recipes which we make at home. So wishing you all a very happy and joyous Krishna Janmashtami. Thank you for watching the video. Please subscribe to Geeta's Kitchen and we'll meet again with another interesting episode from Geeta's Kitchen. Jai Shri Krishna.